Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another gaming challenge. Today I'm gonna see if you can beat Dead Space 2, the sequel to the scariest game ever made, without guns. So let's kick a baby, beat down a child, and punch our way straight into this challenge. My adventure begins with one of the scariest cutscenes in the game. Oh, gross! What self-respecting man would date a woman with a shitty-ass lesbian haircut? It's a good thing she killed herself in the last game. We shift perspectives, and Isaac seems to be in a mental institution of some sort. And then Nicole rudely interrupts my interrogation. Hey, tables aren't for sitting on. Bad woman, bad. Make us whole? Bitch, go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. A guy who looks like his name should be Josh comes here to help me. My current objective was to get the fuck out of there, so I confusingly made my way through the necromorph-infested hallways. I got stabbed by a cripple. I turned the cripple into a paraplegic. I ran into my interrogator, who decided to prank me.
Don't do it.
He then graciously allowed me to take a health pack and flashlight from his locker. Thanks, dude. Oh shit, that's not how you shave. A female contacts me on Skype, telling me that I have a unique form of dementia and that I need to come to her and get a cure for it, or else the dementia will kill me. So now I team up with the woman.
Fuck.
And then the main objective for the next couple of chapters is set in place. Find the sexy woman. I crawl through a vent so I could learn to empathize with the necromorphs, and then I break my dick on the floor. And this is where I get my hands on the kinesis module. I haven't clarified this yet, but I feel like now is a good time to explain. Because this is a no guns challenge, I'm not allowed to use guns, but I can use the kinesis module, since it's not a gun. I can use my hands and feet, and I can use stasis to slow down enemies. Using kinesis isn't always the greatest defense, because impalement objects aren't always laying around or easy to find, so I would have to resort to launching blunt objects at my enemies, but this was mainly to slow them down. Of course, this isn't the best strategy, since some objects, like equipment and cups, are too small to damage enemies. So goddamn, boys and girls, buckle up, because this is gonna be one hell of a fuckfest. The necromorphs wanted my body so they could reconstruct me like some goddamn Lego set, but I wasn't about to let that happen, so I turned them all into decorative wall art. I find a survivor who I already dislike because he's shouting at me.
What the fuck are you doing?
And of course, because he's bald. Oh, gross. That's almost as bad as the lesbian haircut. He wanted me to help him, but how could I? I'm an engineer, not a doctor. However, it looked like he could help me. Is that a plasma cutter? Visiting hours were over, but a necromorph insisted on dropping in for a surprise visit. The gentleman was wearing scrubs, but from the way he treated his patient, I could tell he wasn't a real doctor. I killed it with kinesis, and here I run into the first problem of the challenge, literally. I attempted to kill the slasher with my kinesis multiple times, but this is the only slasher in the game that you can't kill with kinesis. You also can't kill it with melee, so I had no choice but to kill it with the plasma cutter because the game doesn't allow you to get past this area without a gun. We're only on chapter 1 and I already have a fail under my belt. Oh! Afterwards, I encounter some more necromorphs, and after they take turns stabbing me in the face, I learned that melee is actually quite powerful as long as I could afford to lose some health. Anyways, my current objective is to follow Dana's escape route so I could get to safety and hopefully some puss. I've run into my newest ally, Nolan Strauss, and he escapes without me. Looks like it's time for plan B. Oh my god! Necromorphs! Ah! The necromorphs themselves were my greatest weapon against them. Anytime a slasher would die, I would yoink one of their blades and attempt to kill them with it. But I suck at aiming, so it's easier said than done. I kill them all, Dr. Coochie gives me a new route, and I get my hands on the stasis module, which would become so insanely handy to me. Any power nodes I got my hands on would go directly to the stasis module until it was fully upgraded. Right here is where we get introduced to the puker. It's also where I learned that broomsticks can be used as boomsticks. The puker is about as foul and disgusting as a drunk teenage girl. The puker's main method of attacking the player is obviously to puke on them. Getting puked on prevents you from running, and you move even slower than your walking speed. Even when I melee them to death, they spew puke on me, which would result in me taking damage, so kinesis kills on these guys were optimal. They're also bald, so fuck the pukers. I take the elevator, ran into Nicole, going up, and this is where I encounter the second fail of the challenge. The piece of shit window breaks, and I need to shoot this red thing to close the emergency hatch. Realistically, it should be a self-automated button, but nah, the game fucks me over again. Fuck you, stupid ass space window. I get my hands on the engineering suit, which would provide me with armor and more inventory slots, both of which are essential since I would need to sell everything I got my hands on to buy power nodes. And the armor's purpose is obvious, so fuck yeah bitches, life was looking better than that taco over there. Oh, fuck off taco, I have an engineering suit, I don't need you anymore. Immediately afterwards, we get introduced to the tripod, which is a bundle of dozens of human bodies. I ran like a bitch when I first saw it because it was gigantic, but after I used my stasis on it, I soon realized that this tripod could quickly be dismantled into a bipod. I kill it, and chapter 1 ends. In chapter 2, our main objective is to get to the tram station. Simple enough. Now I'm able to upgrade my equipment, and my first goal was to fully upgrade my stasis module, especially the recharge rate, since stasis is vitally important. The rig would come next, and I was mainly after upgrading my TK impalement damage, so broom handles would become even more lethal. Besides, women like a man with strong impalement capabilities.
In case you missed it, that was a sex joke.
I love chapter 2 because it's the start of the necromorph outbreak. You get to witness people being transformed into necromorphs, and necromorphs turning people into ground beef. I run into Strauss again, have a nice chat, and here we're introduced to the Leaper. The Leapers are very easy on their own, but 2 or more and you're in for a real nightmare. They climb on walls, jump at you from across the room, and they bite your goddamn head off. I made my way through the residential area of Titan Station, cleaning it up one necromorph at a time until I encountered the exploding ballsack necromorph. If you destroy their yellow ballsack, they explode. These guys can be quite annoying to deal with because their blast radius is the same as an atomic fucking bomb. They're surprisingly fast and surprisingly sneaky. Melee and kinesis kills are equally effective at killing these bastards. I finish them off, I arrive at the tram station, and here we get our first opportunity to kill the Infector necromorph. We encountered them before when one of them converted Josh into a murderous bone scythe demon. But now we have the chance to pummel them. In my entire playthrough, I never got attacked by an Infector because they're so focused on trying to resurrect the dead that I could always freeze them with stasis and then quickly stomp on them. The tram sequence is pretty cool because you can break off the handles that people use for safety and turn them into spiky spears of death to use against the necromorphs. So the tram was a blast. That is, until it crashed. You can use kinesis from this position to kill the necromorphs. It took a couple tries, but hells yeah, it was possible. But that's when a brute decided to crash the party like some party crashing asshole. I couldn't use kinesis when the big bad brute came. And if you sit there and do nothing, the train falls and then I become a stain on the floor. So fucking hell, say hello to fail number 3. Which is also the start of chapter 3. Since the train is fucked, we need a new route again, so D-Dog shows us the way. In chapter 3, we finally get the chance to beat down on some children. These little fucks have no parents, no discipline, and no respect for other people's boundaries, so you gotta beat the discipline into him. The child necromorphs, aka the pack, are weak as shit. They die in one hit from a kinesis throw and a melee attack. You can make a chain of death by using the dead children as weapons, but the pack likes to surround and overwhelm me, so I found that the best way to take them out was to lash out violently in every direction. It cost me some health, but it got the job done. quick and easy for maximum efficiency. I killed the children, crawled through a vent, watched some guy's vlog. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna do some target practice. Oh man, this is pretty wild. Wee-wah! Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Awesome video, bro. By the way, if you're new to my channel as well, you should drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow. Alright, let's get back on track. I fully upgraded my stasis module, shut down the garbage compactor, entered zero gravity, whew! Got fucked up by a slasher, ran into these things, I said sup to my dead girlfriend's ghost, I had the scariest fight in the game up until this point, Tideman's boys try to kill me in their gunship, and that concludes Chapter 3. Chapter 4 is one of the shorter chapters in the game, and not much happens here. The entire thing takes place in the Church of Unitology. The objective in this chapter is to continue following the route that Dana set for us. So I killed more necromorphs, got my hands on the security suit, I fully upgraded my TK impalement damage, and now I could kill most necromorphs with only one impalement object. I crawled through another vent, and Nicole tries to kill me. You crazy bitch! However, I was actually trying to kill myself. You crazy fuck! And then when I was making my way through the church, I came to a dark, scary room where something creepy was lurking in the darkness. Oh no. It's a pedo priest! Better get my butt plug. Whatever it was, it broke the door, and this is where I encounter the cock chargers. They're some of the easiest necromorphs to kill because you know exactly when they're gonna charge at you. But if you fuck up and miss your shot, they headbutt you right in the dick. But this can work out in your favor. Since they like to stop to taunt you for a second, this is your chance to freeze them and slap their fucking assholes right off their bodies. I killed all the stalkers, and then I was already in Chapter 5. The objective right now is yet again the same thing, follow Dana's path. I found myself in a crypt, accompanied by a bunch of frozen preserved corpses. It's any man's guess what happened down here. After escaping the frozen nightmare, I fixed or disabled a machine. Not too sure which, but whatever I did, it turned off the gravity, and I was able to reach the top of the room. I used my cock to break my fall, and here is where we're introduced to the lurkers. Reanimated babies. They're honestly the most annoying necromorph to deal with because they like to chill out on the walls and ceiling and shoot me with whatever the hell they shoot me with. But when they're on the ground, it's nothing that a well-placed boot won't fix. But guess what happens next? Please roll out the carpet for fail number 4. Mr. Tripod Tongue Cunt drags me along the floor, and if I sit there and do nothing, he Frenches me to death. I couldn't even use kinesis, so I had no choice but to shoot him. For a church, or whatever this place was, it turned out to be one of the most unholiest places I have encountered since child zombie demons were trying to finger me with their fingers for as far as the eye could see. This place took a toll on my physical and mental health, but after I got my ass handed to me, I jumped on a nice and relaxing elevator ride. Oh Jesus fuck! I saved my game for the 100th time since I save at every save station. I admired the scenery. Dana turns out to be a religious bitch. You goddamn holy people. Dana gets shredded into tiny bite-sized pieces, and Isaac seems to have Master Chief level luck. He dodged every bullet, avoided getting sucked out into space, and escaped to safety. But turns out safety is actually danger, and turns out danger is fail number 5. You can't use kinesis here, and if you do nothing, your head gets chomped off, so I was forced to shoot the necromorph to get out of here. I ran for my life, equipped my plot armor while I got shot and sucked at, I made everything explode, and flew through a window, landing right into Chapter 6. My main objective for Chapter 6 is to meet Strauss in the government sector so we can destroy the marker. In this chapter, I discovered the fat fuck necromorphs. Due to the fact that they're obese, they can't squeeze their fat asses through vents, so they have to rely on sneak attacking you from around the corner. Chasing after me was the first and last cardio session they will ever see in their lives. It's hard to hit their limbs with kinesis, and if you kill them in the bellies, they shit out a bunch of green leeches, or whatever the fuck these things are. I found the best way to kill them was obviously to get up close and personal to provide a free and effective weight loss program. Do you have weight issues? Well, just chop off a limb, you fat piece of shit. Results are immediate and permanent. Immediately after this battle, I found the necromorph equivalent of bouncing betties. These guys have a social phobia, and if you get too close, you will burst their personal space bubble. At that point, the anxiety is unbearable, so they detonate their anti-personal device, usually killing themselves in the process. It's easy to send these abominations to hell, but depending on their location and availability of resources, it may be best to run past them. I clear the room of necromorphs, I fully upgrade my health points, I extinguish a fire, I fight for control of the elevator. It's my turn to ride it, Harold. I regret taking the elevator from Harold, because now I'm in another encounter with the ball busters. But I make short work of them since they're a bunch of pussies. And then I found my next potential supplier of the puss. She seems like she doesn't trust strangers for some reason, and tells me not to follow her. So I follow her, but I instantly regret it, because now I was at school. My 3rd grade PTSD was coming back to me, as I couldn't help but remember when the big kids would give me swirlies in the toilet, and then proceeded to titty fuck me. But I'm a man now, and a man faces his fears. As I rounded the corner, I saw a woman and her little baby. I know babies aren't supposed to be ugly, but I felt just this once I could make an exception. Oh, holy shit! God damn. The explosive babies are easy breezy to deal with. I just threw the timeout chair at them, and then I would use the corpses as a frag grenade to kill the remaining infants. Just like the other children in this game, these babies showed a total lack of discipline and respect for others, so I put the teacher in the timeout chair for being a bad role model. I ventured through the school, tore more children limb from limb. Ellie finds Strauss and agrees to bring him to the hub for me. I find Ellie at the transport hub. Tideman shuts off the power like some non-helping bitch, and now it's time for a rumble. Our first brute fight in the game. The brute is very easy, but only because of stasis. The best way to kill them is to use impalement objects on their arms, or slow them down so you can break their legs off, and then finish them off with their own explosive chest balls. The next objective is to turn the power back on, so we don't die and we can take the tram station. This is where I run into the 5th enemy type introduced in Chapter 6, the wall cunts. If you get too close to them, you get decapitated, so the only way to get past them is to kill them from afar. Kinesis is effective against them, but watch out because they're little thieves. Unhand my chair! With the wall cunt's death, that concludes Chapter 6. Chapter 7 is all about getting the solar arrays aligned so we can get some sweet power. This elevator part is normally pretty hard because the 3 tripods are trying to lick my taint, but I had a very easy time dodging them. No tongue can non-consensually graze my balls. I get to the bird lover's room and the door is locked, but luckily no AI can outsmart me. Haha, thank you Mr. Phillips. Whoop. Oh shit. In the next room I had to be careful since the necromorphs like to detonate the mines and send me out into space. But not before the hungry door gets in his next meal. The next time I was ready. I removed the explosive devices so the windows wouldn't blow out. I killed even more necromorphs, I fixed some shit. Tideman and the AI trapped me in this room. I killed the black version of the slasher, which is like a normal slasher, but jacked up on steroids and cocaine. I found that crispy pink treasure, broke some stuff that looked pretty important. This happens. I dealt with the necromorphs in the area. My dead girlfriend wished me good luck, and then I went out into space. This is where we're introduced to whatever the fuck these things are. And because I'm an idiot, anytime I would encounter one in the game, I would try to kill them even though I didn't have to. Killing them was one of the hardest things to do in the game, but eventually I defeated the Tube Man and realigned those hot, juicy solar panels. Now I need to get to Ellie and Strauss as fast as humanly possible, because according to Ellie, there's thousands of necromorphs where they're currently at. So I eject from the station, I make my way to them faster than the fastest sperm making his way to the uterus, I die, I do it again, and I break into the facility, walking it off like this is something Isaac does every day in his free time. I meet up with Ellie and Strauss, and this angers the transportation hub, so it explodes. I fight some necromorphs and then run away, because they endlessly spawn, so fuck that noise, I'm not waiting around to get my face eaten off. I take the elevator down, and Chapter 8 begins. Chapter 8 is another chapter where much doesn't happen. I get surrounded by a fuck ton of necrocunts in this room, but any man who fucks with me always turns into a dead man. I buy the vintage suit, which seems like a big mistake because now I'm a fat fuck, and I look like a fucking dweeb. What the fuck is Isaac wearing on his head, man? It does have better armor and more inventory slots, but at the cost of my sexiness. My current objective is still to rendezvous with Ellie and Strauss so we can ride the tram to the government sector. But when I find them, the door is fucked and she can't fix it. You useless woman, god damn it. I go through another zero gravity area and Tideman turns on the spinning rods of death. What an asshole. By the way, lurkers in zero G areas was my fucking kryptonite. Nothing could make me more angry than these little shits. I got messed up by another one of those tube men. I make it to Ellie's room, but it's been overrun by assholes, so Ellie and Strauss peaced out. But they're waiting for me in the next room. We have a conversation, and Chapter 9 starts once I leave this room. Chapter 9 is jam-packed with action. I kill lots of necromorphs like the human scorpions, adorable little babies, the other adorable little babies, slashers, ballsack boys, and then we're introduced to Mr. Anorexia. When you do enough damage to Mr. Anorexia, his limbs go rogue and try to kill me. But I stomp out the infestation before it can spread. I had to kill another wall cunt, but luckily, God supplied me with explosive canisters. Another necromorph I forgot to mention was the slasher puker hybrid. These are women necromorphs, and they still have their boobies. I fixed a wonky looking machine, called the tram, beat down some more slashers, my dead ex-girlfriend started an argument with me, Strauss and Ellie board the tram, and we see that the Ishimura is stationed here, which was a cool surprise that I wasn't expecting. The tracks are blocked, big surprise, and now I have to play through another cock crusher encounter. Nothing new here, I just kill them all, and then in the next section, I use Cavill here to help me take out the ceiling social phobes. I make my way to the fuel room and find that a giant zombie dick is what was blocking the tram tracks. Ah, just as I suspected. So I destroy the dick by means of Boom Boom, and then when I make my way down to destroy the second container, a tripod appears. I kill the tripod with explosives, I kill the second canister, and then we ride out of there. But Mr. Pain in my dickhole cuts the tracks in half with a solar beam. So now I gotta board the Ishimura to use the gravity tethers for some sciencey stuff that I don't really understand. And with that, Chapter 9 ends. Chapter 10 is the longest chapter in the entire game, but I feel like I don't really have to talk about it too much. We experience flashbacks of events that happened in the first game, like the tentacle penis and the brute breaking the window. I killed two brutes back to back, the first one by punching its knees, and the second one by sniping it with brooms. Killing a brute with 2 broomsticks is the coolest goddamn thing I've done in my life. I kill a lot of necromorphs in the dark scary hallway, I fix some shit, take the elevator to the mining deck, and then I find the decontamination room. Oh man, nothing good ever happens in the decontamination room. I go in, nothing happens, and in the next hallway, I get cornered into a necrotic fuckfest. No, no, get away from me, get the fuck away from me, no, get the fuck off of me, get the fuck off of me. I barely escape with my life, and fix the centrifuge, or whatever it's called. This time, something does go horribly wrong in the decontamination room. I ride the tram station, we need to stop on the medical deck, and now Isaac is like, oh fuck, because this is where Nicole killed herself. I got through the medical deck in a jiffy, but not without getting fucked up just a few more times. The rest of the ship is easy breezy, bitches. I make it to the bridge, get through another awful stalker room, I use the gravity tethers, I get the fuck out of there, I crash land into a building, Strauss goes totally batshit crazy and sticks a screwdriver in Ellie's eye, concluding Chapter 10. Chapter 11 is one of the scariest chapters in the game, Most of the chapter is spent in the mines, and it seems like necromorphs spawn infinitely while you try to replace the power supply for the door. So I got through there faster than a cop eating a dozen donuts, and then I find Strauss, who has acquired a new bloodlust for space engineers with PTSD. But luckily, Ellie puts him in his fucking place. Hell yeah, Ellie, get that fucking psychopath. And then a tentacle penis drags me through a dark tunnel and into the emptiness of space. It took me the longest time to figure out what the fuck you're supposed to do in this section, and it didn't help with the little demon sperms constantly harassing me. I moved all of the lasers out of the way and safely got inside the facility again. I killed even more necromorphs in the Cavern of Terror and got jumped by Strauss when I was playing a game. He tries to kill me, so I drove a screwdriver into his head. There we go, that ought to tighten whatever screws are loose up there, you big-nosed fuck. I took a ride on the elevator of death, and the slashers tore up my butthole. I tried to defend it the best I could, but sometimes your best efforts just aren't enough. As if that whole section wasn't enough, Nicole treats me like her bitch, and then she's sweet to me again? Ah, she's one of them bipolar bitches. But then I get the fucking advanced suit. Minus 50% stasis recharge time? This is exactly what I've been hoarding all of my credits for. And on that happy note, the nightmare that was chapter 11 ends. Chapter 12 is super short and not really worth talking about. Although it's one of the coolest chapters because we get to ride in the Ass Ripper 2000, that's pretty much all we do. All I did was replace the power supply, I fixed the drill, and rode on it while fucking up the necromorphs until we use it to break into the government sector. And from here, the spice levels reach 9 million Scoville units. The main objective in chapter 13 is to make my way to Ellie. In the next door, Ellie finds a gunship. I cut her loose, and she seems rather upset about it. But damn it, I wanted to see if I could patch things up with my dead ex-lesbian girlfriend. But after seeing that fucking haircut again, I decided to reject her. So once again, I was all alone. My last main objective for pretty much the remainder of the game is to find the marker and destroy it. I ride the elevator down, and holy shit, a bunch of necromorphs are emerging from the hole that Ellie and I made. This part was so fucking hard. I used all of my heals, and the necromorphs were tossing me around like a volleyball. After I died, I found out that there's a panel that I need to fix, so after a lot of roughhousing with what seemed like an endless necromorph horde, I opened the big ass door. I got shot at by a bunch of rude security guards, and then they even had the nerve to blow me up when I was looking for health in my inventory. Assholes! I get through the door, and now I have access to all kinds of shit. Oh, you shouldn't have messed with me, motherfuckers, because now I've released the hordes of hell upon you. Tideman is very upset that I messed up his precious compound, and now I have to punch my way through the facility. Nicole gives me a hand by showing me where to go, and for the next while, I have to go through room after room after room after room of killing necromorphs. So many fucking necromorphs. I dodge some lasers, kill even more necromorphs, I save the game, and then I get to a room that is so terrifying and so jam-packed with necro boys that after a minute or two of endless necro genocide, I said fuck it, and ran past everything on the next 2 floors until I reached the lowest floor and get interrupted by a brute. He was the biggest, beefiest brute I had to deal with so far, but like his brethren before him, he tasted the sweet release of death. I cross a bridge, and then I finally find the marker. And it's a fucking big boy, god damn. Tideman blames me for ruining his research on the marker, and then it starts to suck up and converge all the necromorphs, for whatever reason. And now it's time to stick a needle in my eyeball. Apparently this is gonna help destroy the marker or something, so fuck it, let's just climb in and see what happens. Just make sure not to go too fast, or else this will happen. It took me about 2 minutes to get it down safely into his eye, but after I do that, Nicole tells us to follow the light, and chapter 13 ends. Chapter 14 and 15 are the shortest chapters in the game, so this challenge is almost done, my dudes. Chapter 14 took me only 9 minutes to get through, and in this chapter, we have to haul ass because a necromorph is chasing us, but it can't die. It regenerates its limbs infinitely, so I just ran past everything, only stopping a couple times, like when I had to use a dead man to open the door, and when I had to wait for the elevator to come. Chapter 15 is pretty much just a continuation of Chapter 14, just running from more necromorphs and getting filled with anxiety. Holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck, move your goddamn ass, Isaac. Oh man, oh jeez, loot and run, loot and run, loot and run, loot and run, oh shit, loot and run! I was finally face to face with the marker, but then zombified Tideman shoots me with a javelin gun. I break his arm, and then in a quicktime event, I shoot him with the javelin gun, which does not count as fail number 6, since I had no control over it. Even when I had the chance to shoot him, I just played with the laser pointer. Pew, pew. Nicole cradles me, and just when I thought I was gonna get puss, she goes all bipolar again.
Time to die.
What?
She sucks me into hell, and now I have to kill my ex-demon, lesbian, bipolar girlfriend. If you get too close to her, she insta-kills you, which results in you killing yourself. But if I use stasis, I could stomp on her toes. The shitty thing is that we need to kill a glowing demonic heart in the distance, but there's nothing to launch at it with my kinesis, besides my ammo, and we all know that ammo does 0 damage. After 30 minutes of trying to find a solution, I just couldn't do it, so I had to fail for the 6th time. I killed the giant heart, which kills the marker or something. The station is about to self-destruct, and I beat the game. So was I able to beat Dead Space 2 without guns? Sadly, no. Well, now we know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And by the way, Ellie comes to save us in that badass gunship, so we get aboard, have a nice sit down, and now Isaac can finally get some puss.